Here we go. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download their top-rated sportsbook app. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using the promo code RTRS. And brought to you by Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Get yours at bigbarker.com/Ricky. LL Pavorsky, where LL Pavorsky Jewelers, where Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners go and get engaged. The New York Trusters of the Process, for their third straight year, buying the Ricky commercial auctioned off for charity. This year, the Brandywine Valley SPCA. And Kinetic Skateboarding. Get 9.1% off your first order by using promo code Dave Silver. On the show today, here we go. At it again, the season preview, Ricky. Can't believe we are doing this once again. Ricky started in 2013. We are on the border of 2021, and we're still doing season previews. We will do Sixers season over-unders, give our final predictions. As well, Andrew Unterberger will join us for the always unfair and improperly judged bold predictions draft. I'll get robbed again. Also, we'll talk about the final preseason game and the continued saga of James Harden trades. Two things before we get going, both important. If you're watching this on YouTube, the stats are, according to CJ, our video guy, that 62% of the people that watch our videos aren't subscribed. So smash that subscribe button, as my brother likes to say. It's right here. CJ, you can put it there, right? Put it right here. Subscribe to us. It doesn't cost you anything, and you can always ignore the videos if you don't want to watch them. And second, and more importantly, Mike, do you remember heart surgery Ben?
Sure.
Yeah. So Ben had a real, one of our trusted listeners, he was from Texas, I think, and a Sixers fan, had this, a terrible heart condition and had this really risky surgery when we were in Minnesota, right? And he wasn't there. He couldn't go. He was having heart surgery, and he made it through it. He is happy and healthy now. We actually had him on the phone at our big pregame party then. And Ben is actually engaged right now to a different girl than he was dating at the time, actually. But he is engaged, and his fiance is pregnant and works as a nurse in the ICU. So he right.
Ben just trying to do everything at once.
Yeah.
Trying to smash them all together. I'm recovering from like 4 of the things you've said at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like getting through heart surgery was not enough for Ben. So he requested, and this is the first time that I can remember, requested the Ricky bump for her Ricky bump. So he is requesting we give them the Ricky bump. It is Great. Not something we've done. I would approve. Do you approve as well?
Yeah. I mean, look, it works all the time. Every Sixer we've ever had has been successful. That's why we've won so many championships. And so I think it's good. Yeah. I think we give it to him.
All right. You got it. So Ben and your fiance, we love you both. We're sending love and the Ricky bump to you. Guaranteed success. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who is still drying himself off from the performances of Shake Milton and Tyrese Maxey last night. That is Mike Levin.
It's fun when a rookie is good. It's really, there's nothing more fun in basketball. It's to root for a team when the guy you just drafted who fell to you is like the guy is who you thought he was. It's really nice.
You know what's even better? When the guy that you drafted is playing.
Playing, yeah. We'll start with playing.
Yeah.
And then we can get to good.
I was going to say, don't get ahead of yourself. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll talk about it in a second, but Maxey looked great. And Shake Milton, I mean, it's just 2 preseason games, but he's looked great in both of them. So confident as heck. So we'll talk about that in 1 second. Both, and given the makeup of the team, both look like they will play important roles for the Sixers certainly if there are no trades moving forward. Our Apple Podcast 5-star review of the week, we were at 2,812. I do feel like the ratings have picked up, unfortunately. When we get to 3,000, I read all the reviews. This is one that I think CJ won't sit in on. That would be my guess when I do the review pod. Now, I feel like most of the reviews are ripping me for one thing or another. This one comes from Roger Plaid, 5 stars. Subject line, I'm curious to see what you think of this. Mike has become Bill Simmons. The body of it, Mike is now Bill Simmons.
Well, that's not true, Roger Plaid.
If that is your real name.
God, I don't understand. The guy makes $83 million a year, doesn't pay his employees a living wage. No, I'm not Bill Simmons. My takes are eminently better than Bill Simmons. I didn't peak in 2005. No,
you do
declined.
I mean, I cut the checks. You don't make $83 million, but it's close.
Yeah, that's right.
Come on.
It's very close to $83 million. And if maybe like 4 or 5 more people subscribe to the YouTube, then I get $83 million. So we're close, but no. Fuck Bill Simmons. Fuck that guy.
All right. So we're going to do 2 things before we get to season preview. Obviously, we have to talk about Sixers-Pacers reaction. I don't want to overdo it because we do have season preview to do. And then we do have a further advancement in the James Harden scenario, which at some point will either seem completely ridiculous that we spent so much time on this or completely apropos that we did, one way or another. I truly cannot figure out which one. So, yesterday we finally got revenge in Indiana for the New Year's Eve game. Many are calling it the Dan Burke revenge game. Joel Embiid, of course, does not play due to illness, which was followed up almost immediately with an assurance that it is not a COVID-19 related illness.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's already got an illness. I hope if they were keeping him out, they would have I hope they were just keeping him out. I don't know. He's got
a kid. People with kids just get sick all the time.
Yeah. Well, people with kids who are like in preschool. I don't know if infants, they get sick all the time.
How old is he now?
I don't know.
1 or 2?
No. His kid?
I have no sense of time.
No.
What have we been doing?
No, he had his kid during the pandemic.
You could tell me that the kid is 8, and I would be like, okay, great. He's an 8-year-old.
The kid is actually Sixers Adam.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, and the person who is most nervous when Embiid misses a game and they don't quite explain it is Unterberger. Unterberger is Mr. Fear the Worst. I'm not worried, whatever. So I have a list of guys to talk about. I think we have to lead with Milton and Maxey, though. I would say you've talked a lot about Maxey. I would say the thing that is stunning to me about Maxey is there are a lot of players in college when I watch YouTube that get to the rim and they look like they finish almost accidentally in a way that I don't think they would be able to do in the pros. Like they get up and get contact and still have enough to get the ball in the basket. And I always think, well, when you are playing against players that are taller and stronger and you have to get by somebody who is quicker and stronger, that ain't going to work. And Maxey, if I had any concern, aside from the shot, when I was watching it, he looked like that sort of guy. He would get in there and he would finish, but it wasn't always super clean. He would find a way to finish. And the thing that has been impressive for me at these 2 games is that he has found a way to finish in NBA games in that same way that I wasn't sure if he could. And I think that has been positive. And as I said last time, he looks like he fits. He is not intimidated by anything. And he looks like the same player. This is such a win. He looks like that, to your point about the player we thought he was, he looks like the same player I watched on highlights. And it's been great so far. He can play actual minutes, 12, 16 minutes on this team.
Yeah, I actually think he looks better than he does in college. I think he's added a little like more burst to his game. I think his handle's tighter. I think he's just playing a little more freely than he did at Kentucky. He wasn't, he didn't play too much like running the offense. I don't think I've seen him make like a bad pass yet. I think he's been like very under control. It's not like he's tried to do too much, but that's, for a rookie that's coming in, he played major minutes with the rotation guys last night. Yeah, I mean, he's been great. Like, I think my concerns with him are still like, does he have like enough lift to like elevate around the rim? But I think he does have a knack for finishing inside, like you said. He got to the line a little bit. He like has been absorbing contact nicely. We know he has a little floater. He had a drive on TJ where he went left and absorbed contact and finished. It was just like he had that weird little he kind of pushed off a little bit, but he had that like kind of reverse hook over I think it was Batadze. And just like kind of finds a way to finish. And I think that's a, it looks random, I think sometimes, but I think touch and angles inside is like an underrated element of basketball that some guys like have or just like don't have. And I thought he's been great. I thought he's also, I was really, the thing that I was impressed most about, because I think the offense is pretty clearly there, but like him being able to slide his feet defensively with TJ, I thought was great. Like how much have we seen, and we're seeing it now with Danny Green, obviously not the quickest guy anymore, but like how many times have we seen guys just like no moves, just like straight speed, be able to burn a guy who's not moving his feet as well. And finally having a guy that is actually moving his feet like that is nice. He'll get muscled out of it, against more veteran guys. But I just think his game right now is more ready than I thought it would be. And I like that he pulled up off the dribble and had like a nice little, it's a 20-footer, but like it hit it like so softly touched front rim and went in. I just think that like he missed a 28-footer, and that was even though he missed it, it was like the no hesitation, I think, is a good sign. He's just like, he's going to play. Like, he should play. They don't have enough guys that do the things that he does. And I am pleased. It's a weird feeling. I'm like waiting for the other shoe to drop, but
wow,
he's great. Even the play where he goes around Jalen McHugh, and he was trying to take a charge, and he kind of like skirted around him and finished and one off the backboard. It was just like, he just does stuff and plays hard, but still under control, I think, is a really rare trait for a rookie to have. And he's in the rotation for sure.
Yeah. And I find Shake Milton to be almost a player that I cannot find a specific comp for, really, in players that I've watched. He is a weird combination of skills in that he doesn't have like a super tight handle, and he's not, most off the bench scorers like that do, and he doesn't, he's only a pretty good passer, but he is another guy like Maxey, except he's a much better shooter, is definitely a shot maker. And if he is able to stay as confident as he's looked, he will be pretty good. And we'll get to it in a second, but assuming no trade, no Harden trade or whatever, I think he'll end up starting, honestly. But
yeah, I mean, he's the man. He's awesome. It's so great to see him play so under control at his own pace. And the thing that's really cool, like, obviously he was a revelation last year in that Clippers game. He just hit everything, but the shot was good mostly all year round, and then in the bubble, and then so far this preseason. And so now we're getting to a point where teams are respecting Shake's shot so much. They're really coming out at him like he's a legitimate shooter that they have to be mindful of, that he's now getting a ton of like dribble drive opportunities off the catch or off the pump fake, and being able to do that and not lose control, not like try to overdo it, but still like play your own rhythm is really, really impressive for a guy, to his second year in what is maybe the best contract in the league. He's still signed for like 2 more years after this at like $1.8 million. That's like nothing. He just seems very, very relaxed. The next evolution for me, for Shake, is, like you said, the handle. It's like when he's in space, and especially like out space to the 3-point line, he's so tightly under control, couldn't be more relaxed and calm. Mm-hmm. When the next evolution for me, for Shake, is being able to do it in traffic a little bit. Yeah. Being able to sort of weave, get to that middle distance, manipulate the defense a little bit more when there's like multiple things happening. But and I think he'll be able to do it a little bit. And it's what a gift it is to get. I remember like that draft, I did not like Shamet, and Shamet was better than I thought he would be. But Shake was the guy that they got him at like 54. I was like, if they got him in the late first, I would have been thrilled. And this is like, he's great. It's really nice. It's really nice to draft guys that play and are good, and for them to still be on the team, and not to draft Shamet and be like, okay, he's gone half a year later. It's just these are eminently helpful players, especially if Maxey being this good at his age after one freshman year is incredible. And he's not gonna they're not gonna start him. He's not gonna like make an all-star team. But like right now, it's just like having playable role players, and we'll see what it gets to in the playoffs. But it's important, especially in a season like this where guys are gonna get we have to shut down if they're quarantined, whatever it is. So like having some depth of like, okay, this guy can take the reins a little bit is really nice. And I think I'm not the person that needs to say this because everyone knows that I love second round picks, but like you taking shots on guys.
It pays matters. Off once in a while.
Because then you have them under rookie deals for a long time. And if they can play and like you don't have to then go out and sign that guy for whatever, then it's just such a gift for it to work. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you draft a guy who sucks, whatever. But could not be getting more joy out of Shake succeeding and demanding more time.
Well, most times you're going to draft a guy that isn't going to work out in the second round, but that's why you have to draft more of them. That's why you have to use them.
It's not a reason to draft fewer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The thing we saw about the handle last year that I thought was the most evident is that other teams seemed like not scared at all to pressure him full court. Like he was not going to make them pay, and
you can speed him up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll go a guy that I think a little bit less about, and then a guy that I think a little bit more about. Seth Curry, like, isn't more than a 20-minute a game guy. I mean, to my eyes, and this is why I think Milton ends up starting over him. He's pretty slow. Like he's not JJ Redick. Like there's a reason this guy plays 20, 25 minutes a game. He's obviously going to be a great shooter. And specifically in certain lineups when they're running and when Ben and Joe are both there, he will get space, but he doesn't seem like a starter to me. And he wears a t-shirt under his jersey. Not huge for me. Two things that make me a little less excited. I'm actually, after watching Danny Green, I'm like, oh man, I like Danny Green. I'm good with Danny Green. Danny Green's a starter for me. It doesn't seem to me like Seth Curry is.
I would be a little hesitant to assume that this is the player he is as a veteran in 2 preseason games with a shortened training camp.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of thing. I actually like the t-shirt under the jersey look. I think a different look is nice. I think I appreciate just a identifiable vibe.
Scared to show off your arms vibe to me.
A little bit, but some bigger guys do it too.
Yeah, Anthony Davis does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, he hasn't been great. I think he is a little bit slow. And I think that it's just why his skill set is so necessary, but still not like he shouldn't be starting on a great team probably. But I think he's helpful. I think just him being there and his gravity and space and stuff will open the floor a little bit. I've noticed, did you notice that like, and maybe this is obviously, Embiid didn't play last night. The floor doesn't like seem as spaced as we want it to be yet. And maybe they're just like kind of fumbling over their spots and stuff, but it seems like there's still a little like clunky guys bumping into each other. And it doesn't seem like there's, when I watch, the Rockets of the last few years or the Raptors or something, it still doesn't seem like the floor has like all the room in the world. Like everyone can do whatever they need. It does still feel like there's muddiness, and maybe that'll get cleaned up. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is that there is, when Harden would do it, like in the Houston teams, honestly, when I would watch it, and this is more not last year, but the year before, it almost made the court look bigger. Like I didn't even realize there was that much space watching it. The biggest problem, and we'll get to it when we get to Harden, or the biggest reason that I don't think we're going to get as much space is that it is part of the ball handler being like the Rockets caused that much space because everybody could shoot. I don't know, including the ball handler. There's, at least when Simmons is on the court, there is one person who can't. And I don't know if they know who to be afraid of quite yet, too. So I think not having that ball handler that can for sure that they are so scared of breaking them down or either shooting that they have to play super tight on, I think it closes it up a little bit. It does seem like more than last year, but last year was a fucking disaster. So
they also have they've been, and this I guess a Doc staple is having a big rolling like pretty much every possession, and you're seeing more lobs being thrown to bigs than I've ever seen. Yeah. With the Sixers,
especially
it just
Dwight.
seems like that's with Dwight. I think they're even throwing it to. Matisse threw one to Poirier. Mm-hmm. I think Tony Bradley can't jump at all, but he's long enough to be able to do it. It's just nice to see like that is like easy buckets as an option. And it's especially in the team like this is going to be a better offensive team than last year.
Yeah, but
they're still going to sometimes struggle to score. Mm-hmm. And so I think any easy buckets you can get. The thing that I liked, and there was a Doc quote after the game that I appreciated. I think I got it from Rich Hoffman's story in The Athletic. I told this team and looking at them from afar, when things didn't go well, they lost their spirit. And this is him talking about the last couple of years. And things didn't go well for us in the first half. I think their pressure took us out of the game. Indiana always speeds us up, I think. And to come back in the third quarter and play like that is a great sign for our team. I agree, obviously, a lot. I think if they were down 17 points at one point last game, and to come back and win and win like relatively handily, it got closer at the end. But they did really for a very long time. Like when the game, I guess it maybe just felt like last year, although last year felt like 7 years. It did, like once it fell apart, it was just over, and there was just like a helpless malaise. And for Doc to come in and be able to say that and be like, hey, like kind of impartial observer, like you guys got to have a little more backbone. You got to have a little more like, let's come together and win this fucking thing and dig us out of this hole. And I'm sure he feels that with like, the Clippers look like they were dead a lot of times last year. And so like, I feel that's what I tried to convey to that team. And now I'm with you guys and I watched a similar thing. So let's not be, I think it's just like something about just like fresh eyes and like, hey, I'm not blaming. I'm just saying like, this is what it looked like, I think, cause I felt it. And it was nice. Like that the bench was like, it's a preseason game. So obviously the bench is going to play a lot, but like the bench being the ones to like bring us out of it. They were all like about in the plus 20 situation. When was the last time like the Sixers had a good bench? Like, can you think of a time that the Sixers had a good like, here comes the bench? I remember there being like a bench mob back when Lou Williams was here, but they still weren't very good.
The night shift, weren't they called the night shift?
Yeah, for sure. There was definitely being written about on Liberty Ballers. The Sixers bench, the Phillies bullpen, and the Eagles corners have just like never. It's just been escaping us for years. And so if I still think that they're still a little thin, obviously, but Doc talks about the four playable guys that he has who are like good right now, which are Korkmaz, Shake, Mike Scott, and Dwight, and I would add Maxey to that. And it's starting to think like this is like it's not the wheels aren't gonna come off.
And the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you. Very special sponsor this week, Mike. As you know, every year we end up auctioning off a commercial in a different charity auction. And this year it was the Brandywine Valley SPCA. And for the third time in a row, our process trusters of New York outbid everybody else to get the commercial. They're not even advertising a business.
It's a real voting block.
Yeah, it is. It was actually nicely matched by a anonymous Ricky listener who not only matched the bid for Brandywine Valley SPCA, but also matched it for Coded by Kids. So their bid of $900 was matched for Brandywine SPCA, and then another $900 went to Coded by Kids. So they wrote copy for me this time, so I couldn't fuck it up. Happy holidays from your 3-time Ricky sponsor, the Process Trusters of New York. Thank you, Spike and Mike. That's us for all of the content getting us through the year, from the epic summer run of Zach Lowe, Andrew Yang, Chuck Klosterman, and Daryl Morey, which we believe led him to us, to the pre-pandemic Painkiller Mike episode, to the recent Spike Knows How We All Feel After Working From Home for a Week episode, and of course, Tony T and Tommy from Down the Shore's pandemic food recommendations, which I actually forgot about. You have brought us distraction, insights, laughs, and most importantly, the Ricky brings a shared community that reminds us of the importance of friendship. Thank you all from us, Don, Rick, Neil, Allison, John, Danny, Bob, Mike, and Charles. P.S. There are still masks on sale at Buddha Babe, so free feel to buy them and, more importantly, wear them. Good copy, very nice copy. It's all about us being good. So I think a winner from the New York Process Trusters.
Nice folks.
Yeah, I saw Allison and Rick surprisingly at the Super Bowl. It is one of the pictures from the Super Bowl that I don't remember happening. So thank you, guys. Thank you for your donation again this year to the Brandywine Valley SPCA. Thank you, Anonymous Matcher. And thank you, Ricky listeners, for being a part of all of this. Back to the Ricky. The last thing, and then I want to get to Harden so we can get to season preview. I am completely ready to be wrong about Dwight Howard. I'm not for sure that I'm wrong about Dwight Howard, but if he does do the only thing that we need him to do and doesn't turn into an asshole and continues to be, everybody else is talking great about him. Maybe we all change as we get older. It was shocking to see that he's in his 17th year. I didn't even think about the fact that I was a different person at 30 than I was at 20. I was a different person at 40 than I was at 30. It's possible he could grow up. And I'm ready to be wrong. I'd be happy to be fucking wrong. He's looked great.
People certainly have just been loving him on the team, saying he's bringing guys together and stuff. It is fun to watch. The thing about watching Dwight is that he's going to get into a fight every game. There's going to be some pushing and shoving and a flagrant foul to the face. He's going to foul a screener for no reason, just push him over. His physicality is, I think, helpful for this team and will also, I think, frustrate people. But yeah, I mean, so far this is. If he shoots 7 of 7 from the field, this is what he does. He's not trying to do much else. We should talk about the Ben Simmons taking a 3.
Oh yeah.
I think it was, moments before he squared up for a 3 is a hesitation thing, and I was like, oh, that's a nice thing. People kind of bought it. It was a convincing square up, and then moments later the ball got kicked out to him, and it was a pretty deep 3 and one that was contested. He didn't hesitate at all. And he was a little bit short, but it looked fine. Looked like how he shoots it. And so I'm not going to I don't want to talk too much about it and make it into a thing, but it's keep doing it, man. Whatever at your own pace and speed.
Yeah. I'm not even talking about it anymore. If he does it, he does it. Great.
They tried the Bennett 5 minutes. I think we should also talk about that. Looked really bad. With Ben and Tobias at the 4-5.
It's looked bad every time they've ever done Ben at the 5. It's never worked.
Yeah, Doc said we haven't really practiced it, and they didn't really know what to do out there. But yeah, it's just Ben's such an elite defensive player that you would think he'd be able to do that as well, because he can switch onto 5s in a pinch. But when he's the only guy back there. I mean, him and Tobias, I guess, he had a nice block on Brogdon off the backboard, but it just, I don't know. I don't think I want it to work. I want to try it. I want to try it for relatively regular stretches of time over the course of a season, because I think there are some teams where if you can go Ben, Tobias, and like whoever defensively is looking good, that like is more switchable than a Dwight Howard or Tony Bradley at some point in the playoffs. I think it'd be helpful to do, but it just, there's growing pains there, and it just like hasn't worked ever.
Well, he's not really. Yeah, I don't want to. It has not worked. It's never looked particularly good, and theoretically it works. It's one of the things that basketball internet people say. Put him at the 5, surround him with shooters thing. Who hasn't watched it? It just doesn't work.
But I think that doesn't mean it couldn't work in the future.
No,
I think
I agree.
There is value in trying it out, especially in against against bad teams. Like give me a 5-minute stretch where we're seeing like if this can play with something and tell him to play with pace and movement and stuff. I think when Ben plays with that level of pace, his pace comes and goes. Like there's sometimes when he starts the game and he's just like running out like a horse. Like he's just like, I'm there, I'm fucking going everything. And then like it kind of, he's like, all right.
Night. Yeah.
Right. So, which is like, okay, we're pushing. I would love more hit ahead passes in transition. I watched LaMelo the other day, and it's just like the way he sees the court, and he's good. He's just definitely good. The way he sees the court is just like special. And when you just like when it's not just like I'm just gonna like walk the ball up every time or push the ball, when it's like the defense has to get back, it just like it changes offensive rebounding for them, which actually was a weakness for the Sixers last night, that the Pacers kept getting rebounds. But I would love more hit ahead passes and trying to take advantage of those kinds of things. And Ben is good at that, but he doesn't always do it.
So talking about Ben is a good transition to a quick recap of what happened with the Ben and Harden rumors. At the same time, basically, Shams and Woj both report that nothing was going to happen immediately, but that the Sixers had made Ben Simmons available in trade talks. Daryl Morey then denies it and attaches his name to it and says that Ben Simmons is a big part of our future, and then we're not trading him. And then Woj doubles down on it the next day and says that if the Sixers are going to trade Simmons to Houston for Harden, they're going to need a lot more than just Harden. I want to, before we discuss, Matt emailed us, and Matt is a Financial Guy podcast listener and did listen to the Hinky pod with that financial guy. And he said there was almost no basketball but he said at minute 28, the host asked, what is the one thing that someone you invested in did within their first month that wowed you? Sam, in his one thing, says that when the Rockets traded for James Harden at age 22, 23, Harden showed up to their first practice and told everyone on the team to tuck in their shirts. Harden had just met the other players hours before and was already asserting himself as the leader of his new team.
How's that being a leader?
Well, I guess he is saying like that they look sloppy. Police. Yeah. So
sure. Oh yeah. Imagine looking sloppy now, James.
Yeah.
Tuck in your own shirt, James.
So he, and then he goes on, Matt goes on today. Sam and Morey know the side of Harden. I think they can see the past off-field antics that they have brought up a lot around Sixers Twitter recently. After hearing this, there is no doubt in my mind that that Morey trades Ben for Harden. I guess the thing that, so there's a lot of speculation about all of this. One theory I came up with, because the Harden hit pieces are funny because they're clearly not coming from anybody within the Rockets, because all it does is hurt their position. It doesn't benefit them any. The only people it benefits are the people trying to trade for Harden. And the only
what are you talking about specifically about hit pieces?
Well, there's the Tim McMahon, like, just about it being fucking James Harden's world, and he would travel to, party in between games. And like, there's been a two significant what it's like to play with James Harden there that make him
that is kind of Tim's beat though. Like, he's kind of been on that for a while. Like, he's very embedded in Texas basketball, and has always kind of had like a James Harden is like he's not shy about saying that James Harden is like a, whatever he says James is.
I think there was a Rockets. I think there was an Athletic one too. And what I will say is that Tim McMahon also defended Morey for the Westbrook trade. Like he's been.
So you think it's Daryl?
All I'm saying is this: is that there are very few people. I would say probably only two who have a working knowledge of all of that and have something to gain by leaking it. And that would be Daryl and like D'Antoni. You
don't think that it's just like Tim McMahon reaching out to former Rockets players that didn't like playing with James?
No. Because I don't think. Well, it could be. I don't know. And I don't know that it's Morey. But all like if I'm watching this from far away, looking at my tea leaf, my how we're negotiating here, I look at like, oh, that dude's leaking something to drive the value down, and the Rockets had enough, and we're like, okay, you want to know what? They offered Ben Simmons. Could you shut the fuck up? And it seemed like a shot fired right back at the Sixers to me, and right back at anyone trying to trade for him. Hey, Simmons is available. And the fact that Morey denied it publicly doesn't mean much to me. I don't know what happened. I have no idea what's actually going on. It's probably a lot less concrete than anything has ever been reported. But the fact that like Woj again said that Simmons would be available in some sort of way, even after Morey denied it publicly, is sort of significant to me. I don't know, man. Like, I don't even know what to say anymore other than I have no idea. I don't even know whether I would. I still am just thinking he goes to Brooklyn and they're trying to pressure Brooklyn more, but I don't fucking know. Do you have any idea? Like, do you have any gut feeling on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're trading for him. I think it's going to be a Ben Simmons for Harden trade, and whether or not we have to put in more or they have to put in more, if PJ Tucker comes with and it becomes like it's Ben Simmons and like Matisse and picks, and so we get Tucker as well, maybe. I do think it's going to happen. He's James Harden. Like, he's the best offensive player of the generation. Like, it's very, it's easy to get, and I have scared about every all the parts of this, right? Mm-hmm. But if you go back to us, people talking about Kawhi before the Kawhi trade happened,
same thing.
And that was to a place where he ended up going to a place where like he didn't really want to be,
right? But
still he played, mm-hmm. and they won a championship, and it's really like you're just like I love Ben and Joel. I think that Ben and Joel can work with the right pieces around them. I think the right pieces are close to being around them, although they still are missing a creator that can get to the spots. And that's obviously James Harden is the best at that. It's easy and I do like feel precious about it. And I think I said the other day, a couple of podcasts ago, just like I would rather like the Sixers in a way where the guys that they've developed for years come together with a couple pieces around them and make it work, and they win a championship and everybody hugs and kisses and all that stuff. And Ben and Joel open a winery together and it's beautiful and we remember it for the rest of our lives. But there's a very obviously good chance that that somebody asks for a trade at some point in the next couple of years, whatever. And the percentage chance of them actually winning a title is less than I want it to be. So that making a trade for James fucking Harden,
right, when
you can, is something you do, especially if there's a world where you can back channel into James picking up his option for the third year. So you have 3 years of like, we're in or whatever, yeah. or it's 2 years and hey, I'm going to want to stay. I mean, you can't predict that stuff, but
and just like you can't predict, everyone who talks about you're trading for 2 years of James Harden rather than 10 years of Ben and Joel is sort of fooling themselves unless they believe that either Ben or Joel, or specifically Ben, turns into a like legit perimeter like lead scorer. Because
I think Ben's always going to be weird. I don't think he's ever going to fit like the natural mode. He's never going to look like Kawhi or Paul George mm-hmm. or Jimmy Butler. He's just always going to be a weird type of player. Now he does some things better than those guys. And he doesn't like need the ball as much as those guys, partially because he can't do as much with the ball as those guys. But mm-hmm. like, he is certainly a player that is like a star level player that like has certain weaknesses, but his weaknesses, because they're weird, get talked about a lot, you know?
Well, and the situation, and like there's a lot of reasons why his weaknesses are highlighted, you know?
For sure. I'm still 50-50. I think I'm closer to, I was not as 50, I was more 60-40 not doing the trade. I'm probably now 50-50, leaning on the side of just like, you watch this team and you think like, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff, but like, would sure be nice if they had the best scorer in the league. And I do think that as much as Ben is an excellent defensive player and versatile and could win Defensive Player of the Year, any defense with Joel in it is going to be good.
Yeah,
it's not going to be. It might not be great, but it's going to be automatically good. And so if they could have a top 5 offense with Harden and like a top 10 defense with Joel, that's a championship contender. And
by the way, the Rockets were basically able to perform like a top 10, top 12 defense without Joel Embiid. And that's with James Harden in it, you know? So,
And so I do think that, I don't know when it's going to happen. It's a little weird. A trade of that magnitude happening before, like during the season, I think is very strange. Mm-hmm. It's hard to imagine. Even the Jimmy Butler trade, like that's as much of like a happening mid-season earth-shattering trade as I can think of right now. But he was like barely or not playing in Minnesota at that point. And when he came here, he kind of still did the like, I'll be the third guy for a little bit. Like he took his time.
It
like,
wasn't
mid-season,
by the way. It was like the very beginning of November or something. Like it wasn't even.
I mean, I think I was just saying during the season.
Yeah.
I kind of think the Harden trade is going to happen in the next couple of days.
I would say by the end of the week. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it is a real, you know, the expression "scared money don't make money," I think is right, and I am scared money all the time. Like I'm not a money guy. I don't understand this kind of negotiation. It's why I have agents and managers and lawyers doing my deals, because I would be like, it's fine. I don't need it. It's fine. Like I'm not good at it. I don't like leaking stuff to the press, like having to play that game of like, you know, who's leaking what, and like I'm gonna leak this so that then that's a fuck you to them. Like that's not my specialty, and so I don't understand it. It makes me nervous. I don't like it. But I do think that, like, just from a basketball perspective, like the idea of pairing James Harden and Joel Embiid, especially if James Harden wants to be here, I don't know if, you know, it could of course go sour, but like the chance of making it work with Harden and Embiid is probably too good to pass up. And it took me some time to get there, but if the trade happens, I'll get there even quicker. But it's I mean, this is, you know, there's nothing easy. You don't get to keep all your guys. You don't get to always keep all your guys. And I want to keep my guys. Like I'm a little like hoarder of toys that I'm just like, I got this, you know, whatever.
You always get new guys. Whoever comes here.
I do get new guys, but I like the old guys too. And, you know, I still, you know, still angrily bringing up Rashawn being let go for nothing. But just like little, you know, trinkets that I want to just, you know, make them kiss and stuff. But sometimes they can't kiss. Sometimes you got to get somebody else to kiss your trinkets.
The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by the official sponsor of a Christmas present for your dog, Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. That's right. I think Big Barker they have 2-day shipping. So it's currently the Saturday before Christmas. You have plenty of time to do it. I wouldn't bank on the USPS right now, given the recent stories out of Philly, but I think they ship UPS and FedEx, so you're good. You owe your dog a Big Barker, quite honestly. You adopted your dog, maybe you bought your dog, wish you hadn't, but at least you gave a dog a good life. The least you could do is give it the best bed in the world to sleep on. Go to bigbarker.com/Ricky. That is bigbarker.com/Ricky. You get the Big Barker dog bed along with 2 processed pup patches. We got a bunch of new processed pups over the last week. Let's see who they were. So what you do is you buy the Big Barker dog bed and then you send us a picture and we put them on the website. So send us the picture on the dog bed. We got Charlie, who is 10 years old, recovering from a torn ACL he had in July. We have Arrow and Abby, who I think we've mentioned before. And we had Princess Leia. brand new process pups. The beds, I say they're the only dog beds that your dog should sleep on. They're engineered to make your dog healthier and more comfortable because it is a real mattress with real memory foam. Go look at the pictures. You see the dogs not sinking to the floor on this thing, really supported. Lay on it yourself. I've laid on it myself. You can tell the difference. And it's been proven. The Penn Vet did a study on it, been proven to improve joint function, health of the dog, all that kind of stuff. It's wild. BigBarker.com/Ricky. They're even giving you a 10-year warranty. The foam doesn't flatten or they replace it for free. A 1-year at-home trial. If you don't like it, you have until next Christmas to return it. They'll even pay for the shipping, and it is made here in the USA. Big Barker Dog Beds.
Woof woof.
Back to the Ricky. I'm 90-10. The only reason the 10% exists is because I've been so out on Ben for this specific team in this specific role that if it goes bad with Harden, I specifically will get roasted for it, and I just don't feel like going through that. And that's the only reason that I'm at the 10%.
I also just think like you're watching this team offensively. I think if Tobias was a little better. And again, it's the preseason, so what I said with Seth Curry, I guess, has to apply. He looks so bad right now. The choices he's making, passing the ball, like he looks like his brain is not properly functioning. Like it takes him so long to recognize when the pass is there, what the right move is. Like it's just over and over again. You're watching him like inbound the ball and just like staring at someone, and Sabonis is just like, oh, I'm going to pick it off. It's really frustrating. And if he was better at just like being a dynamic offensive player, I think that I would be like, yeah, this can still happen. But I do watching the team last night, and they came back and won. And it was nice, and it was without Embiid and all that stuff. But like I was watching it, and I was like, it's still missing a little, like significant offensive juice. And maybe this team comes together and it'll take time. And I don't end up being wrong about that, but I think there's still like James Harden would be helpful.
This is. And this leads into the preview, is that to me, they are not missing a good guy that can create his own shot. And they're missing like a second guy to do that. They're missing an elite guy to do that, which is prohibitive in winning a championship in most seasons to me.
I do think that like Jordan Clarkson would not be like the answer, like that kind of like some like mid-level guy that can do a little bit of that.
They're not missing a six man. They're missing the man.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. So this will be the 8th time we've done a season preview on the rights to Ricky Sanchez. This is our 8th season. We have, through the Ricky, 647 regular season games, not counting overtime. That is 31,056 minutes of Sixers basketball.
Only watch the wins.
36 playoff games, 5 general managers, 2 coaches, 2 Ricky logos. So here we go. This may all be moot, but we will do this as if they do not trade for James Harden. So you're in the 7th game of the finals with the current roster. What's your starting lineup?
The regular one.
The Seth Curry one?
Yeah, I think you care about who starts more than I do. I think that there's a value in letting like Seth needs the ball less than Shake does, or at least can do a little bit less. And so like I don't mind having the first unit is Ben pushing and being the fulcrum and distributing the ball over the place. And then here comes the second unit, and Ben, retreats to more of a power forward role. Like still like, picking and rolling and short roll and stuff, and letting Shake do a little bit. I think they were playing with the thing I like to see was that they're in preseason, which was what they should do, is like Tyrese was running point with Shake out there and just like, okay, let's see what he looks like, giving Shake minutes off the ball without Ben. Let's see how that plays. And I think it's just like, let's mix it up and stuff. But I do think Seth as a veteran is just like, it's fine. And having someone come in with Shake's like more dynamic play, I think is fine.
I think in the regular season, I agree. In the playoffs, I would prefer to, in the beginning of the game, have. I think Milton can do more of what Curry can do than Curry can do what Milton can do. Would be my argument for Milton. Give me a player, and this is going to be hard because we've already talked about them so much. A player who will surprise everyone in a good way, and a player who will be surprising in a bad way.
Looking around. Maybe Danny Green is just good. Like I know I've loved Danny Green for a long time. I do think that there is potential Covington syndrome just because sometimes you miss shots, like you can't hit all of them. But the way he's playing defensively now
is great
and is excellent. He's got like such great hands. Like I just personally, there's no better feeling in my life than when somebody's trying to drive against you and they just try to cross you up and you just poke it out as they bring the ball in front of you. And Danny did that to Oladipo last night. And I miss that very much, having not be able to play basketball right now.
I would make Thibault just watch Danny Green. Honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So I think maybe he's just like a delight and succeeds. And we remember Danny Green as one of the most like beloved players, 1 year players in franchise history. Who could disappoint?
Yeah.
I mean, Tobias needs to be better. Like it's not like I'm trying to keep like putting the contract out of my brain and like not be so dependent on it, but like, holy shit. Like he just looks awful. Like he takes his sweet time all the time. He's just not good enough. And the idea that that's the guy that you gave $40 million a year to, like, I just can't wrap my head around like how they could have done that.
The salary matters because there is a salary cap.
Of course. But at this point it's there's nothing you could do about it aside from trade him. I was trying to be like, well, like he's helpful in these ways, but like you're watching him, you're just like, Jesus Christ, like do something well, like do something at a high level. And maybe he'll go back to shooting 40% from three this year. And that would be very helpful. He did a couple years under Doc, but I mean, just like slow and indecisive and not like, doesn't move well. It's not like he's like relocating all the time.
Would you trade Ben and Tobias for Harden and Wall? It's a tough one, isn't it?
Wall looks good. I mean, I would need to see a little bit more. I don't know.
You can't. You got to do it right now. You got to decide right now.
Yeah. I guess. My God. Because I think it's easier to get a guy that, I mean, Mike Scott is playing excellent basketball right now. He looks totally rejuvenated. Last year was bad. He just looked pretty lost and not confident in himself and like also indecisive. But he's just, he looks to be moving well, looks to be in better shape, and he's rising up from three like very, very confidently from wherever. And so I think that like Mike Scott gives you 70% of what Tobias gives you at 1/8 of the price. So there's other guys you could obviously get if need be. So yeah, I mean, John Wall, if he's healthy, is a really fun player to root for. It'd be interesting to get both Harden and Wall, but I don't think this is like a reasonable trade that would happen. But
no, I'm just
Simmons
asking.
and Harris for probably.
All right, two more quick ones before I give you over unders, and then we'll get to AU and the bold predictions draft where I'll get robbed. Who is, and by the way, mine was Danny Green, my surprise in a bad way. I don't think he'll be terrible, but I think that the player who we think is better than he is because he wasn't on our team is Seth Curry. So I think he'll disappoint a little bit. One important question and one silly one. The important question, who is the most important player to the Sixers' success this year? And I imagine your previous answer will be the same. The most important non-Ben, non-Joel player.
If the roster stays the same?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can expect. I don't know. I came in and I was all talking about the percentages of Tobias Harris. Like, if you could just give me a little bit better here and there, just like shrink the minimum, like all the stuff. And I'm now, even after two preseason games, 2 halves of a preseason game, I'm already thrown out about it.
You're out.
I'm going to say Maxey. Like, if as far as the roster being this good, like, he is a variable in a way that, like, I don't think, like, I think Shake's going to be good, but I don't think he's going to be able to, like, as the number one option, take over games. Not that I'm saying Tyrese will. I just think, like, the kind of player that is like a kind of a dog defensively and able to put pressure on the rim while, like, running pick and rolls and seeing the court and stuff. Like, I think that there's a world where if Tyrese is, I mean, he's been good. It's unlikely, but in the 5 to 10% chance that Tyrese Maxey is like, I'm actually the 3rd best player on this team right now, I think that would be pretty huge. Yeah,
I'm going Shake. And before the over-unders, final question.
It was not that long ago. Let me just say, people have such short memories, and I do as well. It was not that long ago that I was saying that Shake is this good, and people were like, "Come on, man! Like, come on!" And it happens quick. I'm just saying, shit happens quick when people figure it out and get the opportunities that they should get. It happens very fast. All of a sudden, like, Shake is now seen as this guy, but midway through last season, he was in the G League or not playing or anything at all. Things change quick. That's all I want to say.
You do take as many shots as you would like teams to take on second round picks in that.
I take some shots. I wouldn't disagree with that. With that.
And the final question, will Doc Rivers ever keep the mask over his nose and mouth at the same time? No. Okay.
No, coaches are unable to.
Yeah. It drives them fucking
perform
crazy.
Because they're so engaged. I'm not a coach. I don't think that I think I feel too much to be a coach. I think you have to have a level of calm. And I don't think that I have that when I'm like involved in a game. Coaching Alyssa's basketball team, sometimes me just like I've coached a little bit, but I've mostly been on the bench just like muttering to myself. It's not great. But I think that if you are a coach, like, you just have to convey the messages you have to convey, and like the idea that there's like something in the way, it drives you crazy. It's a total blockage to both your nose and mouth and also your brain. I think you're just like, I have to yell.
The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by our original sponsor, that is LL Pavorsky Jewelers. He's getting a little snarky in the emails about the fake customers. I don't know if you've noticed the tone change a little bit.
I think he's always been like that.
Oh, really? Really? I think we joke about the customers being fake, but I think it bugs him a little bit, and he mentions it in his emails to us. He sent along pictures of, I forget which number it was. Maybe it was number 200. The engagement actually happened. And he's like, well, another fake customer here.
I mean, you can do so much with computers these days.
Seriously, like pictures over the internet guarantees that something happened. Come on. We're at 206 Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners who have purchased engagement rings from LL Pavorsky. You have 4 days. He's open all the way up until Christmas. So you got plenty of time. As I've said before, there's nothing wrong with proposing on a holiday. If it sounds, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not hokey to me. Everybody likes being proposed to. If they want the other person to propose to them, LL's your guy. Or if you need a last minute gift, LL's your guy. LLPavorsky.com, whether you want to do the appointment in person or online or on the phone, whatever it is, go to LLPavorsky.com. Send them an email, lee@LLPavorsky.com. You can tweet them at LLPavorsky, or you can call them. I'm looking for the number. Hang on. I didn't bring up the copy. It's 215. Do you remember what the number is?
There's a lot of twos in there.
Yeah.
Maybe a 7.
There we go. 215-627-2252. The store's been there for over 30 years. It's unbelievable. And thank you for supporting our charities, LL, Providence Animal Center, and Coded by Kids. LL Pavorsky Jewelers.
During the Christmas rush, LL wears 2 suits at once to grow even more powerful.
That's a good one. Back to the pod. All right, let's roll through these. Over or under, number of Ben Simmons 3-point attempts for the Philadelphia 76ers this year, 16.5.
Oh, this is part of my predictions.
Okay, then leave it alone.
Okay.
Number of wins, over, under. So a 50 win pace is 44 wins. The Vegas over under is 42. I'm actually setting it at 46.5 over under.
Well, so I would like to, if we look back at this, there is a real world where no teams don't play a full 72.
Yeah. So whatever this percentage is, we will apply this percentage. Yeah.
All right. 46 and a half, I'll say under.
I'm going to say over. Number of games played by Joel Embiid, 58.5.
Under.
I'm going under as well. Number of games played by Ben Simmons for the Sixers, 10.5.
Under.
Under. I'm going to go over because I'm still saying he's going to Brooklyn. And then number of games played by James Harden for the Sixers, I said it's 0.5, and you're going over. I assume. Number of times
just one.
What's that? What if it was
Harden
just
played one? He just played one game. Fuck, we got him for one game. All right.
One game? What a weird trade. Number of times Furkan Korkmaz steps on the line while he's in the corner before shooting a three that ultimately goes in. Over under 22.5.
You mean the out of bounds line?
Yes.
I'll say under, but that's a pretty high over under, but I think he might deserve it, but I'll still say under.
Happens every game, way over. Number of sort of weird controversies involving Dwight Howard. Over under 1.5.
Over.
Yeah,
I'm budgeting one for the vaccine.
Yep.
And you have to assume there's going to be another odd one.
Yep. Number of non-suite fans that attend a Sixers home game this year. Over under 0.5.
I think it'll be over.
Yeah. But if the season goes till fucking July, that would probably be over. Number of times Joel Embiid during the season suggests he needs to get back to the guy who is just having fun. Over under 0.5.
Over.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm also going over. 3-point percentage from Danny Green. Over under 36.8.
Over. Come on, Dan.
Over as well. This will be one of the good ones from Danny. I've decided he's my favorite non-Embiid player on the team is Danny Green. 3-point percentage from Seth Curry. Yep. 3-point. I fall in love easy. I fall out of love easy. 3-point percentage from Seth Curry. Over under 40.5.
Under. He might not. 28.1.
3-point percentage.
One of the best shooters of all time is gonna barely hit rim.
3-point percentage from Shake Milton. Over under 39.9.
Oh, come on! Give me the Hollis barometer. Over Hollis.
I'm going just under, but the volume will be huge. 3-point percentage from Joel Embiid. 36.1.
Under.
I'm going over. 3-point attempts per game from Joel Embiid. His high so far has been 4.1. I'm setting the over-under with Morey here at 4.9.
Under.
You're going under? Okay. I'm going to go over. Might as well. 3-point attempts from Tobias Harris. His highest 5.8. The 2 years with the Sixers have been 5.0. I'm setting it at 5.9.
Under.
I'm going to go over. Might as well. Number of times we will say what a good guy Tobias Harris is and how much the other players like him while criticizing him this year. Over under 32.5.
Over. Such a good guy, though.
Way over. If there is not a trade, number of playoff games the Sixers play this year, 11.5. Over under.
Over.
I'm going under. If there is a trade, number of playoff games the Sixers play, 11.5.
And you mean a James Harden trade, not just any trade?
Correct.
Over.
Final result for the Sixers this year and our mood afterwards.
There's so many possibilities floating around. I would say a better, more optimistic loss in the second round.
And you're obviously projecting one with Harden, right?
Either way,
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think they're. I'm still, and I think me thinking is going to Brooklyn. I don't know if it's an emotional hedge that I want it so bad. So I am predicting. I do not think they're getting Harden. I think it will be a disappointing second round loss, as I think their regular season will give us flashes of us believing in it again. This is what it comes down to me with the Sixers, if it's Simmons or Embiid. Seth Curry, I don't think is as good as JJ Redick. Danny Green is probably not as good as Robert Covington. So the difference between the 17 and 18 teams will have to be, I mean, there are other pieces that matter, but really, if there's a major difference, it will have to be Ben and Joel. And I hope to be wrong about both of them, that one of them shows like a new level. But until they do it, I'm just sick of believing in it. So I just don't believe in it until I see it.
Not commenting on whether Tobias is better than Dario?
Oh, I'd rather have Dario than Tobias. Dario lets it fly.
Tobias is a better player, but the fact that it's close is upsetting.
Yeah. And finally, if you would give your prediction for conference champions and league champion and NBA MVP before we get to AU.
I have the Milwaukee Bucks over the Dallas Mavericks and MVP Luka Doncic.
Wow. So I am going to. I'm struggling with this a lot. I bet on 2 MVP picks that I thought their odds were way too long. I bet on Durant and I bet on Damian Lillard to win MVP. I am going to go with the Nuggets and the Celtics.
You're just saying shit.
You know what the problem is? I have no idea. I don't want to pick the Lakers because it's boring. I don't know who's going to come out of the East, and I don't know who's going to come out of the West. I have no idea. I legit have no idea.
That's the question.
Yeah. I look at the East, right?
You just think we're still screwed. Back to this, we're fucked conversation.
Well,
the Celtics have been winning championships left and right.
Well, they've been to 2 conference finals before.
And that's where it ends.
Best player. I have no idea. I legitimately have no idea. I had a strong feeling last year with the Clippers and the Celtics. I don't have a strong feeling. I really don't. The reason I default toward the Celtics is because it's funny, but also because I think they might have the best player, like who will matter in the playoffs. I don't believe in the Bucks.
Jeff Teague?
Jeff Teague, you got it. And we go to the unfair master ceremonies for the Bold Predictions Draft. Andrew Unterberger, who is always brought to us by Kinetic Skateboarding, where I got this. That you can see on YouTube. It's another reason to subscribe to YouTube, which I think was their best hoodie. I have more skateboarding gear for a guy who has not skateboarded since I was 14 than any man in America. You don't need a skateboard to get cool stuff from Kinetic. Always with sneakers, that's the only place you can get them. They're Nike Dunks there all the time, New Balance Vans, all that stuff, and lots of other stuff that is comfortable and specifically good for the fall and winter, I would say. So go to Kinetic skateboarding.com, use promo code Dave Silver for 9.1% off your first order. There he is, Mr. I'm here to fuck Spike on the scoring again, Andrew Unterberger.
What's happening, Spike? Good to be back. Glad to be resuming my duties here.
We just heard, I don't know if you heard this, but the Sixers have waived Justin Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And also signed and then also waived Frank Mason. I think. Yeah. So I think that'll be like an Exhibit 10, be on the G League team type of thing, which might come into play, I'm hearing, based on the fact that if some guys end up having to be, taken out and they don't want to cancel games, it might be like, hey, bring on the Delaware Bluecoats.
Awesome.
And we're playing them, we're rolling them out, which obviously will be a very me game. Frank Mason and Justin Anderson, both friends of Joel Embiid. Mm-hmm. Frank played with Embiid in Kansas. They came in as a freshman class together. Frank is a quick scoring guard, very small. but like can shoot, has balls, great guy.
Yeah, are you
4 years at Kansas?
Are you a Frank Mason guy, Mike? He seems like he might be kind of your type.
I am a Frank Mason guy. I mean, I love that Frank Mason, Devontae Graham backcourt at Kansas. That was definitely my era. My buddy Shane is a big Kansas fan. Shane is Rhonda's dad, Rhonda the dog, who just got a big barker. I don't know if we're calling him dad. I don't know if people do that.
We do in this.
But, that's right. But yeah, so I love Frank. He was G League MVP. Like he can score points in a hurry, and so. I think there's a chance that they, call him up at some point if they need to fill a role, just because he's like a quick guard that can score. And he's friends with Joel. I don't know. I'm interested to see how they fill that last roster spot, because Justin Anderson has looked bad for sure. And the idea of keeping Poirier on as a fourth center, in addition to B-Ball Paul, who we didn't talk about, but B-Ball Paul getting to the line, playing games. How about it, Paul Reed? So I'm interested to see how Darryl fills that roster spot. We might find out during this podcast. I will keep an eye on it.
And to be fair, like Justin Anderson has never looked good. Even when he's played good, he hasn't looked good. No. That's just not kind of his deal.
Stinks.
That's fair.
Yeah. So AU, why don't you first explain the bold predictions draft, and then, if you would, explain to the audience how my scores will be lower than they should be.
All right. So yeah, we did this in 2018, I think, before the 2018-19 season the first time. Same deal as back then. I asked you guys to come up with 8 bold predictions for the upcoming NBA season. First 5 of those are going to be about the Sixers. Last 3 are going to be about the NBA season at large. You're going to take turns giving me those predictions. I'm going to grade them on a scale of 1 to 10 based on how bold I think that they are. So like 1 is going to be like if you say Joel Embiid will be an all-star. I mean, he's been an all-star several times already. Probably will be again this year. 10 would be Joel Embiid benched for Vincent Poirier 10 games into the season. Almost no chance in hell that'll possibly happen.
Let me cross that one out of mine.
Yeah.
Well, there'll be a high score if you got that one. But name that tune rules do apply for this, which means that following each prediction, the other one, the guy who didn't make it, has the opportunity to steal it by kind of adding on to the boldness of it. So like if Mike says that Ben Simmons makes 25 threes this year, Spike can steal that by saying, no, actually Ben Simmons makes 40 threes this year, which is obviously a degree or two bolder. But, you can't say like Ben Simmons takes 26 instead of 25 threes. It's got to actually be significantly bolder.
Just enough ambiguity in there for you to fuck me on something.
There we go.
Yeah.
And the last thing to remember is that the predictions don't have to be stat or like number related necessarily. They don't have to be player related either. So they can be about locker room stuff. They can be about off court stuff, media stuff. Can be about members of Sixers Twitter. I think Mike predicted last time that there would be a hire from the Sixers front office that they would take somebody from Sixers Twitter.
Yeah,
didn't end up happening, but could have. And it also could be from the Ricky.
Still good.
Yeah, and could be from the Rickyverse too. So like if you guys wanted to say that Sixers Adam gets hired by Big Cantaloupe to become their next spokesperson, you can do that. You can steal that by saying no, it's actually Cheese Whales. But so in any event, feel free to get loose with it.
Okay.
And I'll keep a prediction. I'll keep a record of the predictions and the scores. We'll tally up the correct ones at the end of the year, declare a winner, have some sort of prize for them. We're supposed to do that 2 years ago. We didn't actually, but this time we will. And speaking of Sixers Adam, we might be doing this again in a couple days. I'll be doing it with Sixers Adam and MOC. So they might join the competition, make like a 4-way deal. So we'll see about that. But if y'all are ready to go, we can get started. I think Mike won when we did it 2 years ago. So Spike can start this time.
All right. My first one. Dwight Howard will hit more 3-pointers this year than Ben Simmons.
All right. I like that. I remember Dwight Howard like taking them in the All-Star game as like a gag a couple times. Don't know how proficient he is in the regular season. Can't imagine he's hit more than 10 lifetime.
I love that Spike is buying into Dwight Howard corner threes in warmups, but not Ben Simmons corner threes.
Well,
I think that's really good.
I have proof that Ben Simmons corner threes in warmups don't translate. So
fair enough. And we do need a stretch 5. May as well be Dwight Howard. So I'll give that like a 6.5.
Okay.
It's not unheard of.
It's fair. I'm trying to figure out which order I should do it. Spike, are you doing in like an ascending order or is it no order?
I don't know. I'm just sort of looking at it and doing what I feel like is going to be the right one for the time,
Okay.
But first off, Mike, do you want to steal that by saying like somebody else even less likely on the Sixers is going to hit more threes than Ben?
Me? I hit more threes than Ben. It could be interesting.
Could go with that.
I won't take that one.
Right, fair enough.
I will say, I was going to do it. I'm going to not do this one, but I was going to say Ben shoots over 65% from the line, but makes fewer than 5 threes. But I'm not going to do that because that's too close to Spike's situation. but I do think that's going to happen. I will say Matisse spends time in the G League.
All right. I'm not like as up on like arcane G League tendencies as you are probably, so I don't know exactly how unlikely that is, but I think like we're certainly trending in that direction, which is dispiriting to say the least. I'll give that like a 5.
I'm leaving that alone. That would be pretty shocking. I had a Matisse prediction that I'm not going to use now because his trumped mine, saying that he would average fewer than 10 minutes a game, but the G League is fucking wow. All right.
Well, based on your reaction, I can bump that up to a 5.5.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Yeah. Spike reaction gave it a half.
Yeah. All right.
Spike prediction number 2.
Danny Green will hit 3 game winners this year.
3 game winners. So define game winner for me. Are you saying like a literal buzzer beater, or just like he hits a shot in the last minute to
last 10 seconds?
Last 10 seconds.
So the other team, I would say if he hits a big shot, the other team gets the final shot and they miss it. That's a Danny Green game winner. I will say that's fair.
All right. So,
but not with like 45 seconds left.
No, I would say the most that can happen is one more possession by the other team.
Yeah, I'll give you like a final half minute, maybe like 35 seconds on that. And considering I don't think any Sixer in history has ever hit 3 game winners in their career, let alone in one season, that's pretty fucking bold, I gotta say. I'll give that an 8.5.
That's fine. He's not going to win that one. I will say, okay, I'm going to split. I will say we finally get the Brian Colangelo Woj pod.
Oh, I like that. Is this still in the capacity as like a Australian junior high coach or whatever he's doing now?
He owns a team.
Does he? Is that what he's doing?
I think it's a
career spanning
your career. What really happened type of thing. Skate by, that kind of deal.
The David Marchese Vulture interview for Brian Colangelo and Woj. That's very exciting. Okay, that seems not implausible, but probably not too likely. I'll give that a 7.
Oh, that seems high, but that's fine. Scott O'Neal will not be employed by the Sixers by the end of the season.
Well, see, that's almost an unfair one because I feel like you would know the answer to that better than anybody else. Can I say
I don't have any inside information that I have not said on the pod before.
And you haven't
didn't your dad say he was going to the Jazz like 3 years ago?
Yeah, but I think there's a possibility he could have ruined that. I think there's a possibility my father could have ruined that by saying it.
Well, considering that you've been very consistent in your messaging up until this point that Scott O'Neal would never get fired by the Sixers and probably still be there after the sun burns out. That's pretty bold. I'll give that I'll also give that a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I might want to counter with lifetime contract or like he owns a piece of the team or something.
That's true. You could definitely take that if you want.
I'll let you have it because we'll see.
Yeah, you don't want to be rooting for that all season, certainly.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, prediction number 3.
Shake and Embiid have another screaming match during the game.
Oof.
Okay. Regular season, postseason, anytime
at any point. Point. Similar to the one that they had in the bubble where they were both screaming at each other and had to be separated.
that considering it's happened, it shouldn't be that unlikely that it happens again. But the first one was so weird and inexplicable that that's still decently bold. I'll give that a 6.
That's fair.
I guess you can steal with a less likely Embiid yelling recipient.
I'll let it be.
Okay. All right, Spike, prediction number 4.
Prediction number 4, Shake Milton will start the first playoff game for the Sixers again.
All right. Well, I'd be kind of disappointed if that didn't happen at this point. I'm majorly in favor of him starting over Tobias, and it's a movement I hope to gain steam over the course of the season.
Oh wow!
So I'll give that like a 5
over Tobias. So they would start.
Tobias.
I like that.
All guards instead of no guards. Okay,
I guess
sure.
I'll save that for my own bowl predictions, but 5 for that one. Mike, number 4.
I will give my no. Okay. I think this is a sneaky bold prediction. Mike Scott will not be traded.
Okay. Does that mean he definitely finishes the season, or is that okay? Finishes the season. All right. That is a sneaky bold prediction. Not like
that $5 million has been sitting in people's pockets on Trade Machine for a while. Years.
Yes.
And it's very assumed that he's going to get traded. I think he doesn't.
Out of curiosity, is that because he outperforms his salary, or is that just because shit happens? He's a lucky guy.
Because of vibes, I would say.
The vibes are always a crucial part of the Mike Scott experience. All right,
that's right.
We'll give that a 6. And shout out to Zaynab. That'll make her happy, certainly.
Finally, for me, Seth Curry is going to be a divisive player on Sixers Twitter.
That's nothing.
Well, are you saying he's going to be the divisive player on Sixers? Like, is he going to be the Tobias or Ben Simmons of the season? Or
that's a 1. That's a negative.
Are you kidding me? Everybody loves that guy.
Let's get a sense of what you're feeling here, and I'll suss out exactly how bold it is.
A lot more than your phony TJ McConnell divisive player stuff. Like, yes, a lot closer to Tobias, I would say.
All right. Yeah, I'm somewhere between the two of you on this one. I'll give that a 4.5. It's not quite as bold as your last one.
Come on.
Look,
that's such a nebulous thing.
But folks are so romantic about Seth Curry right now. Like, they were acting like we traded for the other one when we got him. Like, it was like, oh, well, we've always wanted Seth Curry. Seth Curry is so great.
Who's not divisive right now on the Sixers? Who would you say is not divisive?
On
Sixers Twitter. On Sixers
Shake Milton.
Tyrese Maxey certainly is like the least divisive Sixer in process history, perhaps.
Okay, but it's 2 games in. Matisse wasn't divisive last year until he was.
All right, but it's 2 games into Seth Curry too. I think.
I'm saying give me someone who's here for a full year and isn't divisive.
Well, that's why it's only 4.5. That's a below average boldness prediction.
4.5 is somebody else gets screwed. Why even have 1, 2, 3, and 4? why even exist? Just start the rating system with 4.5.
Well, but it's gonna. I'll say it'll take a lot to like be validated. He'll have to very clearly be the guy this year in terms of Sixers Twitter split down the middle on him. Okay. 4.5 final Sixers related prediction for Mike.
Another podcast one. Brett Brown gives his first post Sixers interview with Zach Lowe, says the name of our podcast, but butchers the name.
Oh.
That's a good prediction.
That's a good prediction. Yeah, you're pretty low until the final bit there, but what context would he even have to say the name in the first place?
I think he would talk about like the fans and how they were good to him and his appearance on the Rooster Ricky Krambus podcast.
All right. Well, if he says that specifically, I'll give you a 10. But failing that, if he does generally what you say there, that's like a 7. Brett Brown saying the name on Zach Lowe, that's a 7 for me.
I can think of a way to steal it, but I'm not going to do it.
Oh, what would that be?
That his first interview is here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that one, I don't know. That might be a little insider.
But still butchers the name.
But still butchers, yeah. Still has no idea what podcast he's on.
That's a little insider trading, considering you can pull some levers there to actually make that happen.
Thank you. Finally, some oversight.
All right, so we are done with the Sixers-related predictions on this predictions draft, but we're moving on to the NBA at large predictions, and I guess we'll start with Mike this time. Mike, what's your first NBA at large prediction? The
Sixers one that I didn't do is Tobias makes some number of bad passes that ultimately contributes to my hospitalization, and so I didn't do that, but I'm thinking about it. Okay, no, that's not fun. I have 5 options. You said to come with extras just in case.
I appreciate you coming prepared, Mike.
I'll start with a Sixers adjacent one. Josh Richardson and Al Horford both shoot over 40% from 3.
That's almost definitely going to happen. I mean, the Al Horford. I guess Al Horford. He's only done that like once in his career, maybe twice tops. God, yeah. I mean, if that doesn't happen, that'd be a saving grace. But I'll give that like a 4.
Wait a second.
You're right.
That's actually too low. It's like a 5.5 or a 6 to me.
I'll give it a 5 in that case. But like the Sixers, I mean, like Zach Lowe has basically written as much in his podcast, or in his column before he said as much on the podcast. Like everybody sort of knows this is going to happen, even though statistically it shouldn't happen. Everybody,
but both of them over 40% is
all right. Yeah.
I'll take 5. 5 is fine.
We'll go with 5 for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Like
the Thunder will finish with a better record than the Pelicans.
Okay.
That'd be a surprise.
That would be a surprise, but I mean, it would have been equally surprising last year, and that obviously they did. Well, maybe not equally surprising, but it would have been surprising that they did as well as they did.
They had Chris Paul and Danilo Gallinari last year.
True story. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, we'll give that like a 7.5. Okay.
I'm fine with that.
I'm not betting against the Thunder. They seem to have like a good kind of infrastructure that they'll never get too high or too low. So yeah, 7.5 is good for that. All right, Mike, second prediction.
Greg Popovich quits midseason.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that. Is that like just I've had enough? This team's not going anywhere, and DeMar DeRozan's driving me slowly insane, or like,
maybe some of that, maybe pandemic related family stuff. I feel like we haven't heard enough about like his next step, and I feel like it's when it happens, it's just going to be like, I'm done.
Yeah, I like that. It's plausible, but it's still very, very bold. I'll give that a solid 8. All right, Spike, you want to take that by saying that he doesn't even make it to game 1, or
Nah, that's fine. You can have it. It will be discovered and basically proven that Jimmy Butler doesn't really like coffee that much, and this whole thing. Like, he did bring a coffee maker, but like his whole thing that he loves coffee and yada 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 is totally fake.
How else is he getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and playing until 12:30? And all right, yeah,
it's fake that he likes coffee. Okay,
it's fake that I don't know if you read the article about him,
showing
but he's
off
like,
by liking
why would you read the article about this? Like, why would you of all people read the article about Jimmy Butler and his fucking coffee?
This is what you do.
Shit.
If you really hate somebody, you fucking consume all of the content.
Yeah. Fair enough. Does that mean that somebody else in the Heat is like the secret mastermind behind Big Face Coffee? Or
no, there is no.
He's stealing Kelly Olynyk's coffee.
It's a bit that got out of control and is not true at all.
All right, I like that. Also plausible, but also very bold. I'll give that an 8 as well.
Thank you.
And we'll go into Mike's final non-Sixers related basketball prediction.
The Nuggets will be in the play-in tournament.
Ooh. Wow. I like that. I was going the other direction with them in general. So you're that means they're what, like 7 through 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 7 is what I'm thinking. But yeah,
okay.
It's a good West. A lot of good teams. I think that they will have the classic. We had a great year. Step back, which Portland did.
The too much too soon season. Yeah.
Yeah. Portland did. Phoenix did with just almost making the playoffs. I think it is a classic thing. They obviously have very good players, but the West is tough, and I think that they will miss Jeremy, and Michael Porter Jr. doesn't play defense.
Yeah, well, you're actually talking yourself down here in terms of boldness, because that actually sounds pretty plausible now that you say it.
Well, it's it's a good take.
It is a good take. I'll give that a 7.5. It's not quite as good as Popovich retiring midseason, but it is very good.
I have one more that I want to do if Spike has another one.
But first, does Spike want to go either lower for the Nuggets or come up with a bolder team that's going to be in a play-in tournament?
No.
Right. No stealing this time. That's disappointing, but all right.
And I have 2 more, so if Mike, you'd like to do 2 more, I can do 2 more, because I was thinking the same thing.
All right, fine. We can go 9 total. That's good for me.
Okay.
So Spike's second to last non-Sixers NBA prediction.
Obi Toppin will win Rookie of the Year, and it won't even be close.
It's all right. Spit on my coffee there for a second. That's very, very bold prediction. I've watched 2 New York Knicks preseason games, and he is not even like the 5th best prospect on that team, it seems like right now.
Nah, he's awesome.
Okay. That is. Mike,
isn't he like first in Rookie of the Year odds?
No, he's 3rd or 4th. Yeah.
Jeez, who even is like the favorite?
LaMelo is first.
LaMelo is first. Obi is second. At least the ones I'm looking at.
All right. Well, I guess.
And then Wiseman and Edwards are tied for 3rd.
I am saying it won't even be close.
Yeah, the won't even be close is a nice touch. I mean, this is clearly like a pretty wide open field, so maybe not any one rookie is like a 9 boldness to say, but that's pretty bold. I'll give that an 8.5. Close to a 9. I'll give you an 8 3/4 for that. Even going to the 3/4 for the first time in my scoring tenure.
The decimal point.
Mike, do you want to outbold that somehow?
No, I mean, I think that it's entirely possible that he averages 14 and 8, and that's the best that a rookie is. I think it's certainly possible. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's not going to be close. I think LaMelo. I have LaMelo winning it, and I think that he will be good, and other people will hit enough shots, and Halliburton will be good, but probably not enough statistically.
They're not.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Unterberger grades not close.
They said the not even close part is definitely an interesting wrinkle here, because like even in like a Malcolm Brogdon Rookie of the Year type year, I don't think you would say that wasn't even close.
Yeah,
like,
that was definitely close.
Yeah, these guys like you have to hit a certain ceiling to even separate yourself from the pack, even in like a crappy rookie class.
Just another opportunity.
Last year not even close?
Last year was Ja over Zion, I guess. It was close to not even close, but the fact that Zion was so good, I think
it wasn't close. I'm talking about the voting. The voting wasn't close last year.
Oh, so all right. Well, we might have to like kind of drill down on that a little bit. I'll do some research there and get back to you guys about what that actually means. But for the time being, 8 3/4, not even close. It would be top in Rookie of the Year.
Mike,
second. This actually will be your final.
My final
prediction. Yes.
James Dolan sells the Knicks.
Wow, I like that. Is he dying, or is it just like one protest too many? Or
I think it's a like a rage quit of a video game. I think he finally just is like wants to get out and just cranky, like retreat to an island. The fans aren't there. He doesn't get to be showered in praise. He doesn't get praise anyway. He doesn't get to play his little band. I think he like leaves the country, owns an island, and is never associated with the NBA again.
Wow. Well, considering all but like one of those things has been true for the Knicks the last 6 seasons or so, I'm giving that a 9. That's the boldest one I think we've heard so far.
And my final one, John Wall makes an All-NBA team.
Wow.
I like that. Like when did he make it like 3 or 4 years ago? Maybe
I have no idea.
It probably hasn't been as long as we think, because there was one really good John Wall season before the bottom fell out there. But it's been at least 3 years since he was even like a replacement level starter, probably. So that's pretty bold too. I'll not quite as bold as Dolan or Obi, but I'll give that an 8.5.
Okay, then we're done.
Unless Mike wants to make an even bolder NBA prediction, or John Wall MVP, or John Wall, I don't know, Finals best player. Okay.
If everyone in the Sixers gets hurt, I think Shake could make an All NBA team, but I don't want to put that injuries in the universe.
All right. Well, thank you very much for both of you for playing along this time. This was fun. We'll see how the scores shake out, and we'll see how you guys compare with Sixers Adam and Mike O'Connor boldness wise. I'm looking forward to seeing what it takes.
We're at like an hour 40, so we should wrap this up. All right, we'll talk to you Wednesday night after the first game. I wonder who will be playing on the Sixers. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, lick face.
If you don't fuck with me, then I won't fuck with you.
If you don't fuck with me,
then I won't fuck with you.
But if you fuck with me,
I'm gonna fucking kill you! That's a friend.